planting preparation area, and I'd like to show you around today. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, welcome to my sunroom. It's about 15 meters long, about 4 meters across, and I'm blessed I can get in all spectrums of light, so it only enhances these fluorescents and their spectrums, which are lacking a little bit compared to sunlight. But yeah, let's turn this camera around and we'll go through each of the things I have. Alright guys, my camera plays up when it focuses on these lights, so I've got to take a bit of an angle to make it work. If I move and it flicks a bit, I apologise in advance. But I have 5 of these chrome plated 4-tier racks with 3 active growing levels at this stage. I have 8 twin bear 36 watt do-it-yourself lights currently working, and it's running at about 2/3 capacity of this whole area. So there's room here for an extra light that I'll talk about in a second that I haven't installed for a reason. But down here are the switches, if you can see my finger that you saw at the start of the video, that pretty much turns on all this area. Now when I say do-it-yourself lights, it simply means you just plug them in. There's no need for an electrician to come and install those lights, but they're T8s, 4 foot long, 36 watts. I'm currently running cool white globes, which I'm hoping to upgrade to daylight globes, if you know what I mean. They're a much brighter light, but I'm just using these up because that's what came with them when I bought them. They're in Australia, purchased from Bunnings. They're $52 each, and I'm sure you can get cheaper online. I have recently purchased 6 more for this massive rack that I've bought. That's 2.4 meters by 2.4 meters. I've bought a different type of light with a shade on it that's going to direct the light down a little bit better. Now why I bought this rack is I am changing and I'm purchasing a lot of these trays. They're 38 centimeters by 50 centimeters, and I can fit 5 of them perfectly across here. Now I'll just step back, it's a 5-tier rack, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm planning on putting lights on 4 of the levels and keeping the top for storage or germination areas. At the moment I'm using it for germination. In the past I used to put it up the top here, but just it looks better without them, so I'm pretty happy to keep them over here. I love this rack. I've been eyeing it off for a while and I've finally been able to afford it. Wasn't that cheap, but certainly well worth the money. Over up in the sunroom I've also got this big beast 500 litre fridge. I wish I had a glass door, but I got this second hand off Gumtree for quite a deal, but it holds everything prior to the markets that I need, with a freezer compartment up here that I put my ice bricks for my eskies in. Over here I got a storage rack for all my packaging. This is all the eco-friendly packaging for the sprout mixed punnet packs I make. Here are some planting punnets that I use in previous videos. Here are some more of the vegetable oil punnets that break down. They're quite cool but very expensive, hey. Here are some eco-friendly bags that I put, say, 100 gram or 200 grams of sunflower sprouts in. They sell really well. Just keep everything here, guys. My labels, smoke alarm I have to install, extra cable, scales, label maker. You know, it's just a place where everything is that I need to use regularly. At the moment I'm using 2 manual fans, and once it gets too hot, I'm lucky enough to have this split system air conditioner that blows across. I aim it at the roof so it'll shoot down, all these windows will be closed, and it'll come down and around, blow the hot air away from the plants, which I usually turn on once I get to about 26 degrees. Through the winter I've got this wood that I'll be using. I'm really glad it's here in this spot because it does get quite hot, but it'll be perfect enough to warm this area up to the desired temperature. I'd like to sit at around 23 degrees if possible during the night, which everyone I think would enjoy, just to keep warm. But in our area we only get down to about, you know, maybe 3 degrees on a really cold night, and pretty lucky with that. So that's about all inside. Pretty lovely sunroom. I love it. Luckily my family's donated it to me for now until I can move into my own greenhouse. And yeah, let's go downstairs and have a look. You may have seen a lot of videos from above where I'm planting, and that was all done on this pallet made bench right here. Very well used bench, this one. I've also got, and I've recently made 2 of them, a spare bench with this extra drying rack that I've made that can come down and be used as for drying, or I can use it as a bench for planting. So that's become quite handy, having 2 options with that. And I've actually got 2 of them. So like before, I can lift this up, and I've got a 3rd bench, which comes in handy, guys, when you're planting massive amounts. I can just fill all 3 of them with pots and parts and whatnot. Up the top here is my dodgy how it works. I've got it adjustable on chain so I can come down lower, but that's a box fan for drying sunflower shoots, sprouts, and baby leaf lettuce and whatnot, all on here. And yeah, pretty neat area. Hey, I like this one. I've got my saws and whatnot here for building trays and that I sell the pots in. Keep some boxes over here for deliveries, racks for gardening stuff, all my trays and stuff. I've got a ton of trays in here for today's planting. But it's all a nice little area. Eventually I'd like to get it enclosed. For law, if you're going for bigger supermarkets, I think you've got to really have an enclosed area that's able to be sanitised, and that, so I'd have to do the floor and whatnot, but that's exciting down the track. Oh, by the way, Mike, look what I got, mate. Mr. Duzzy. Further videos coming up. Alright, let's walk over here. In the next video, I promise I'll get to the crackies I'm doing, as well as this system I've been inspired to do. Another thing you probably see all the time are these outdoor shade houses. I'm using 2 at the moment. These 2 cost me almost nothing to make, $15 for the shade cloth, but they have made me more money than those racks upstairs, I swear to God. And this is why, this small, tiny one, look how much sunflowers going on in here. Ridiculous. 10 trays going on. I've got some broccolis and red cabbage and whatnot coming through, so they're got to be harvested tomorrow for the Thursday night market. In this one, if you've seen my crazy methods for sunflowers, I've got more coming through there for Saturday, some orders and the markets, whatnot. A few plants I'm hardening off out in the sun for a salad blend, which honestly, guys, are much better shelf life, hey, when they're sun hardened. Just what I've experienced anyway. Alright, one more area to show you, and that's about everything, I think. Alright, last but not least, the infamous shade house that is always being worked on, but let's go inside. There's a bit of wind. Alright, I know most of you, my long-time subs have seen in here a few times. Unfortunately, in the summer it was still too hot, but this is going to be absolutely perfect in the winter. I'm actually going to get plastic sealed on this end and mostly around here with a vent installed here. I'm working on that now, but as I said earlier, only with profits from the business sales. So at the moment it's a workstation. I'm got 2 more of these cracky containers to build, plus 6 more over there and that downspout. So yeah, there's a lot of work to do, guys, all the time, but this will be all set up with that type of hydroponic system. So, well, fingers crossed. That's all learning for me, but I'm blessed enough to have the fan. You know, I'd love another one over the other side, but you know, slowly growing, guys. I know a lot of you have seen my hothouse as well. That's 12 foot by 8 foot. I've got a review of that. It was one of my first videos I actually put out. I won't take you over there because there's not much going on. It's a totally sealed hothouse, I call it, because it's real warm. But again, I'll be using that through the winter for my sunflowers and stuff. All right. Okay, that kind of concludes most of my growing areas for microgreens, and this behind me is coming up, and I'll talk about that in the future because it's still under trial and stuff, but it's another dream of mine that I'm having a go at, and it's going to work. So if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. Any questions about what I use or how I use it, I'm happy to answer that, and it'll help inspire videos for the future. But I'm starting from scratch. I'm going to take you through basically everything I do instead of, you know, a bit of this here and a bit of that there, because I think it's time for me to do that. Alright guys, as always, get healthy, get tasty, keep on growing those microgreens, never give up. Talk to you soon. Cheers.